Hey all you cool cats and kittens out there. It's that time again, it's chemistry time. So to get you started, I'm sure you're missing this. We'll start you out with a hilarious chemistry joke. And it matches the unit we're on. So, what happens when you lower your body temperature to negative 273 degrees Celsius? Nothing. You're perfectly okay. And if you're not sure what that means, then you're going to find out soon. So here we go. We are working on gases. You learned last week that there are units of pressure and temperature, and you worked on converting between them. Now we're going to be using those to solve something called gas law problems. So before you can do that, though, you need to be able to recognize the units. If we look at pressure, there's lots of different pressure units. Pressure, we can shorten that by using P, can be in atmospheres, kilopascals, or millimeters of mercury. Those are the three most common. So if you see a number in a problem labeled ATM, kPa, or mmHg, that is a pressure unit. For volume, we typically use liters in gases just because we're usually working with large amounts. Once in a while, you might see an ml. That means milliliter. That is also a volume. So for volume, you should have an L. And then you learned about temperature last week, going between Kelvin, Celsius, and Fahrenheit. We're going to look at Kelvin and Celsius when it comes to our gas law problems. So there are a few gas laws that we're going to look at. They're all named after old dead guys that came up with it. So the first one we're going to look at is called Boyle's Law. Robert Boyle was one of the first scientists who studied gases and saw that there was an inverse relationship between pressure and volume. In math, you guys learned about inverse and direct relationships. Inverse means that as one variable increases, the other one decreases by the same amount. So if we have something and it doubles, if the other one decreases by half, that's considered an inverse relationship. Boyle's law is, here's the equation for Boyle's law. All of the laws are like a before and after, so ones and twos. So there's a situation that it started at, a variable is changed, and so then we have an ending situation. So one of the most important things you need to do when you're solving gas laws is to first identify the variables, and then what you do is you basically put it in the equation, and we're going to plug and chug. We're going to solve for x. So let's look at Boyle's law. A gas has a volume of 2 liters. Liters is a volume. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to label that V1 so I know that's my first variable. At 6 atm. We just looked at how atm is pressure, so this would be labeled as P1. What will its volume be at 3 atmospheres? So here's the after. So we have the beginning variables, something has changed, and then we're solving for the other one. So 3 atm, again, atm is pressure, so this would be P2. Then what we're going to do is plug these into the equation and solve for our missing variable. So P1 is going to be 6 atmospheres. And then it's next to V1, which is the same thing as multiply, which is going to be 2 liters. And then that's going to be equal to P2, which is 3 atmospheres. And then V2 is what we're looking for. We don't have it. It says what will be the volume. So that's our X, essentially, is V2. So you can write it as V2 or you can use an X, whichever way you're most comfortable with. And so now we need to figure out V2. To do that, we have to get it by itself. So whenever we have a variable with a number and we want to get it by itself, we divide both sides by what's with our X or our V2. So V2 is going to be equal to 6 times 2 divided by 3. We have atmospheres in the numerator, atmospheres in the denominator, so they canceled out. So we're left with a liter, which is a volume. So that's one way you can check to make sure that you have it set up correctly. So then we're going to take our calculators and we're going to plug and chug. 6 times 2, which is 12, divided by 3, which is going to give us 4. And then our unit is L because it is a volume and we are originally given liters. Our next gas law is called Charles' law, after Jacques Charles studied the direct relationship between volume and temperature of a gas. Direct means both of the variables are going to increase or decrease with the same proportion. So if one doubles, the other doubles. If one decreases by half, so does the other. This one looks a little bit different because notice it's basically a proportion equal to a proportion, or a ratio equal to a ratio, or a fraction equal to a fraction. With gas laws, the one thing that really trips students up a lot is that temperature has to be in Kelvin. So if you don't convert your Celsius degrees to Kelvin before doing these problems, you'll always get them wrong. We're going to solve these using cross multiply. Again, I'm going to start by figuring out who my variables are, and it's a before and after thing. A gas has a volume of 3 liters, so that is going to be my V1. At 400 degrees Celsius, so that is going to be my T1. What is its volume? So that's what I'm ultimately trying to figure out is V2. That's what I don't have. At 250 degrees Celsius, so that is going to be my 2T. Now, before I can do this, I have to convert my Celsius degrees to Kelvin or they will not work. And you guys learned before that to get to Kelvin, what you do is you add 273. So what I'm going to do is take 400, so for T1 it's going to be equal to 400 plus 273. It's technically 273.15, but this is standard. We're going to just do 673 here in 10th grade. And then my T2, same thing. I'm going to have to take 250 this time plus 273. And I'm going to end up with 523 K. So these are my temperatures. Now, again, it's a matter of plugging them into the equation like it's lined up there. So V1 is 3, and I'm just going to leave the units off just to make this a little cleaner when we look at it. T1 is going to be 673 equal to V2 is our X. That's what we don't have. And you could either use a V2 or an X there. And then our T2 is 523. Whenever you have a fraction equal to a fraction, you can solve this using cross multiply because V2 times 673 is equal to 3 times 523. So I'm going to show you how this looks mathematically. I'm just going to take 673 V2 equals 3 times 523. Now I can go ahead and I can solve for X, which in this case is V2. So to do that, I'm going to divide both sides by 673. 673 cancels with 673. I'm left with V2, and if I go ahead and plug and chug and do the math, I'm going to end up with 2.33 liters. And I labeled it liters because it's volume. And volume, the initial one gave it to me in liters, which means when I plug and chug it out, it's going to end up in liters. Our next handsome old dead guy is Gay-Lussac's law, or Gay-Lussac is his name. So hyphenated, very modern for the time. He studied the relationship between pressure and temperature and found that it was a direct relationship. So just like before, as one goes up, the other one goes up. As one goes down, the other one goes down. Same MO in terms of solving. Figure out who your variables are, plug them in, and solve for X. This time, kindly, our temperatures are already in K. If they're already in K, we don't have to convert them. So that helps. And if we read through it, it says a gas has a pressure of 3 atm. Atm is a pressure. That's our initial pressure. So that's going to be our P1 at 400 K. So that's going to be our T1. What is the pressure at 500 K? So we're looking for pressure, so we're trying to solve for P2, and our second temperature is 500 K. So I'm going to go ahead and plug those into my equation. I've got 3 over 400 equals, and I don't know what P2 is, that's my X, over 500. Again, this is a cross multiply. P2 times 400 is going to be equal to 3 times 500. So I can just set this up as 400 P2 equals 3 times 500. This is a time, sorry, not a dot. And so to get P2 by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 400. So those cancel out. So my P2, if I plug and chug that out, I'm going to end up with 3.75. And again, it's a pressure, and we're working with units of atmosphere, so my label is going to be ATM. Now, in order for Boyle's, Charles, and Gay-Lussac's law to work, the other variables have to stay constant, which in the real world, that's a little difficult unless you have like specialized machinery and stuff. So if you take all 3 of those laws and you combine them together, you get what's called the combined gas law. And that allows you to not have to sit and try to figure out how to keep either temperature, pressure, or volume constant. So these 3 laws rolled into one is called a combined gas law. Again, same method for solving. You're going to figure out who your variables are, plug them in, and chug it out. It looks a little bit trickier because when you solve for X, and I'll show you that in a minute, there's like an extra variable sometimes, and that kind of freaks people out. But really, it's the exact same method as you did before. So if we look, if I have a gas at 11 kilopascals, a kilopascal is a pressure. So that is a P1. And 300 K, it's K, so I don't have to convert to Celsius. I don't have to convert from Celsius to K. I can leave it like it is. So I don't have to do any extra work with that. Then we have an initial volume of 2 liters, so that is my V1. If the temperature is raised to 350 K, so this is going to be my T2, and the pressure increases to 440 kPa, this is going to be my pressure 2. What is the new volume? So I'm looking for P2. And again, I'm going to take my variables and plug them in where they belong. So P1 is going to be 11 times V1, which is going to be 2, over T1, which is going to be 300. And then I'm going to set that equal to P2. This should be V2, sorry. P2, which is 440, times V2, which I don't have. That's what I'm trying to find, over T2, which is 350. So here's where it looks scary. Ooh, that's messier than before. We're still going to use cross multiply. Again, these 2 are equal, except it's these 3 are equal to these 3 now. So if I go ahead and show this mathematically, we're going to take 300 times 440 equals times V2. Okay, so what I did is I took 300 times 440 times V2, and then that is going to be equal to 11 times 2 times 350. So it's just like before, it's just that we've got 2 things with the V2 now. Just like before where we would divide both sides with what's by V2, we're going to divide both sides by 300 times 440. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. 300 times 440. These are going to cancel out. So V2, and I'm just going to rewrite this so you can see it a little bit better, is 11 times 2 times 350 divided by 300 times 440. And then we're going to plug and chug that all out into our calculators. And V2 is going to be equal to 0.064. That's a 0, believe it or not. And again, when we label it, we got to look and see what variable we're doing. We are looking for volume. Our original volume was in liters, so that means that this will be in liters. So our final answer is going to be 0.064 liters. So that's it. That's how you do gas laws. There's a practice sheet to go with this. Plug and chug it out, see what you think. The biggest thing is to make sure that you know how to identify what's a pressure, what's a temperature, what's a volume. And if it is in degrees Celsius, cats and kittens, you gotta convert that to Kelvin or you won't get it right. That's because Kelvin does not have any negative numbers. Kelvin starts at 0K, okay, going back to the joke, and it is equal to negative 273.15 degrees Celsius. And that is theoretically where all movement stops because temperature really is a man-made thing, and what it's measuring is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is energy of movement. So the faster something is moving in terms of the molecules or the particles, the more kinetic energy it is, the hotter it is. Okay, that's it for now. Have a wonderful week. Again, if you ever need help, make sure you reach out. I'm here to help you. If you're in our co-top, Mr. Degner is also there to help you. And that's it.